Well, it's time for another speaker's tip. I've been doing a little series on purpose in speaking, the purpose of your message, the purpose of your speech. And there's another point I want to make in this whole area and share with you that is really fundamental to how I approach speaking. When I start a speech, a lot of times I'll talk about start with the message, start with the takeaway, and then you build back. And I just did a little series on this. You can't write a speech unless you know what the message is that you want to get. It's like planning a vacation and not knowing where you're going. The whole idea of planning is you're going somewhere. But another key component that's even more fundamental to the message is what is the purpose of your communication? What is the purpose of your speech? And with that, let me just give you a couple examples where you could be asked to speak, and looking at what the purpose of your message is, I think is a really important point. Let's just say there's a issue or a policy that your city council is getting ready to pass and it's being debated, and you go to the city council meeting and you have your 2 minutes to voice your input into what the city council is doing. Now, you may have a specific message that you want to deliver, but underneath that message is also the purpose of impacting the city council, or the purpose of uniting your constituents, the people that are on your side, uniting them in a way to put more pressure on the city council. You have a purpose of impacting the city council, which is more fundamental than the message. The message is there, but if the message is delivered, but it doesn't impact the city council, your speech really didn't do what it needed to do. Another example is, let's say you're going to a wedding or an anniversary of some sort, and you're to give a toast at the wedding or a toast at the anniversary. Again, you can have a specific message, you can have a specific story you're going to tell, but more fundamental to that is the purpose of that communication is to honor the people either being married or honor the person who's having an anniversary, to let them know what they've meant to you or how proud you are or the example they've set in some capacity of that. So that underlying purpose is such an important component to understand and isolate and know and identify, so that when you're writing your speech, you're going, this is really achieving the purpose of this communication. Probably one of the biggest areas this has played in my life is at funerals. I have had the privilege of conducting about a dozen funerals. It's not something I promote a lot. I'm also an ordained minister, which is one of the reasons I have the ability to do that. But I've had people come to me and ask me to oversee the funeral. And part of that is doing the eulogy for an individual. And there's a specific purpose I have with eulogies. And it's to celebrate the individual's life, but I also have the purpose of indicating to the people there some of the less palatable traits that this individual had, and getting them to laugh about them and getting them to let go of them. And nobody lives a perfect life. Everybody ruffles feathers as they go through life. So it's to share the good, share the things they did, but also share some of the things that they did that maybe irritated people, but we're going to look at them, we're going to laugh at them and let go of them so people can actually move forward. And my main purpose in delivering a eulogy is not so much to honor the individual that has passed as it is to allow the audience who's there and still living to move forward from that loss of the individual. I look at it, maybe you're at work and you have to give a message. There's a new policy that came out, and your team, the policy is not a great policy. Nobody's happy about it, but management sent it down and you have to tell your team that here's the new policy. And I actually had a situation like this where I was an employee. I was working for a large food company. I was in sales, and I was working in supermarkets, sold groceries in supermarkets. And if anybody knows anything about being in a supermarket, you don't want to be in there talking to the manager on Friday, especially Friday afternoon, because basically that's when everybody got their paycheck and the store was crazy Friday and Saturday. Those were the big shopping days. So you needed to get all your work done early, and then you stayed out of that store on Friday because the managers didn't want to see you. Well, there was a policy that came down that we needed to be in the stores till Friday at 5 o'clock. And the new manager, district manager of the company I was with, wanted all of the salespeople out there 5 days a week. And one of the benefits of the job was the fact that you sort of busted your butt for 4 days and you could have Friday afternoon off, maybe even a little bit earlier than Friday afternoon. But that was one of the benefits you had. And the person had to come in and deliver this message that the district manager expected us to be in the store until 5 o'clock. And it was a tough message for them to deliver because nobody on the team felt it was, first of all, advantageous or wanted to accept it. And I know they were a new manager and they were having a really hard time getting this message delivered because they never really embraced the purpose of the message. Okay. It's just an example. Another example I had was I was doing a talk when I first started professionally speaking. I was delivering financial seminars for a company that did retirement programs for teachers and seniors. So they would offer a free dinner and people would come. Most people came for the free dinner. There was some interest in it, but they offered a free dinner. So they came to listen to my seminar and then they got the dinner after my seminar. Well, my purpose in the beginning was to give very accurate information and to not make any mistakes. And my purpose was to making sure that my financial information that I provided was accurate. As I worked with the agents that were there, I started to realize that really the purpose was to get the individuals who came to sign up with the agents. And then I shifted. It wasn't that I was trying to be inaccurate. It was that wasn't the focus. That wasn't the purpose. The purpose was really to engage the people, give real examples, explain real problems, real stories, even get them to share things if I could, so that they realized that they needed to sit down with an expert and make sure that their retirement was safe. Because the purpose of the talk, the purpose of the dinner was to get basically leads with the agent so that they could sit down with the individuals and work on their retirement programs with them. So I had to shift my purpose in my speaking, which is one of the things we have to look at. Those are just some examples I wanted to give you on how purpose drives the message. It drives the construction. And it's really the primary motivation behind our speeches. And there's a lot of people that I've talked to, and again, and the amount of coaching I've done, where the individuals never identified the purpose of their speech. And let's just talk about this. I've done a lot of competition coaching, and a lot of times the purpose of the speech is to win the contest. And that's not what wins it. The purpose of the speech should be to impact the audience, because the person who impacts in a positive way, you see, the person who impacts the audience the most, touches the heart, changes the mind of the audience the most, is usually, and should be, normally is the person who actually wins the contest. But the focus should be on the audience, not on the trophy. And I see people focusing on the trophy, and they usually don't get the trophy. The people that get the trophy are the ones that focus on the audience. So we realign the purpose and everything falls in line. That's my tip for this week. I hope that it is something you can use, and I will see you again next week.